that
Yeah.
was, I love
So
the,
Laura something.
yeah, I
Yeah.
really, gosh, there's so many things where you said that were awesome and really thought provoking or relatable. But it's the one thing you said in your takeaway that I had to write it down. It was so good to me. And it was so I don't know, illuminating in the fact that I can't hurt my spouse without hurting myself or my family. And that is so true. And it's applicable to both men and women in marriage. That's something I'm going to carry for the rest of my life. That was so profound. Um, I do have some questions. Let me flip back of the couple pages that I wrote things on. Where to start? I like what you said that men are like a roaring fire and women are like a pilot light. And I think that men need the pilot light to keep the fire roaring, but it is kind of hard to get that pilot light going sometimes, especially if you're not already on fire. Um, discussing, it does seem like it's a challenge. Like you said, men feel like we have to do what we have to get all the lights green. And then even then, and that's like such a struggle. They're like, okay, I got all the lights green. Well, good, right? And then it's like, no, I'm not in the mood. Ugh. So, uh, is there any advice for men on how to handle that, or maybe something they can say to their spouse, like, hey, I'm really trying here, and this is really just it's grinding me down.
Yeah, what I would say is that her self-care is what really matters. It's like her sexual health ultimately is not your responsibility. So as I was saying earlier, the you have to become familiar with yourself in that way sexually as a woman. What improves my libido? Remembering that libido is life force. So what energizes me? What sustains me? What nourishes me? For me, it's nature, hiking, running, going out with the dog, my child being well, not too much negative media. I am so discerning about what I allow to float through my consciousness. I don't drink. I don't smoke. I don't take drugs. I look after my body. Your body is the one companion you are guaranteed to have your whole life. So it amazes me how badly we treat it. Yeah. So that's what I would say to men. I would, my husband did it for me. He said, you look like, he said, and he does it. You look like you need a bike ride. I'll get your bike out. You seem stressed. Would you like a massage? So it's that sort of being aware of the yes, the nature of her light, her libido, her life force, and how for women, because we're prone to negativity, you want to find a way of living a life, help her, encourage her, help her to understand that she needs to work out how to live in such a way that she keeps that life force strong. What makes her feel good? If she's in love with life, the sex life will follow. If she's hating being alive, if she's low energy, if she's depressed, if she's too worried, if she's too stretched thin, you can forget it. She needs to be free. There's something about that. So find a way of creating a life that honors you deeply. That's what I would say. I know that's not, you were probably hoping for a much simpler answer than that, Rex, but that's what I've got to say on that.
No, that's really good because that's really kind of attunement in knowing your spouse or your wife or your husband, like what and I think more for men knowing their wives, what is it that gets you in the good headspace besides me thinking, oh, it's all these green lights. There's other things. Like Like when you say hiking, I know my wife likes hiking. So let's go on a hike. And then maybe
Yeah,
later,
totally.
wink, wink,
Totally.
you know?
Yeah, totally. Totally. Yeah, you want that green light. You want to, for me, it's about, we literally just talked about this today. It's that you want the internal light to be green. It's your light. You know, it's like, if I'm a red, you know, it's red for Trump, red for the buses, red for the climate, red for people who don't put their dogs on lead. It's the negativity. So for me, it's like being, you know, creating that yes, that general yes feeling. That's on me, generally speaking. Obviously, I keep people, I have people around me that care about that for me too, but the lion's share of that work is mine.
But it has to feel good too when your husband is in tune and it's like, hey, you look like you need a bike ride. And
Massively so.
that has to
It
make
was a
you,
game changer for me.
it has to make you feel seen. Cause I know that's something I've heard from women is they want to feel seen.
Yes, and cared for, Rex. Cared for, you know, that feeling of being cared for. And when he's angry with me, the flame goes down. You know, when he's caring for me, when I feel like you know, he's on my team and he wants the best for me, that's a big old green light.
And that reminds me, we were talking to a guest a few weeks ago, Shalom Levitt, and she was mentioning how her and her husband were having an argument. You were talking about how a guy would be like, in the middle of an argument, be like, let's have sex. And the woman's like, I am not ready for that at all. She said they were having an argument and he just stopped in the middle of it and was like, you know what? You're my favorite person and I really love you.
Oh,
And she's
perfect.
like, I couldn't even remember what we were arguing about.
Oh,
Um,
brilliant. Absolutely.
and I will say it
That's
does work.
fantastic.
I've tried
Yeah,
it. And that can grease the wheels a
that's
little bit.
awesome. Totally. Totally. That's that back to that play. You know, I think there's something so, I don't know. And that's why I sort of, I'm a bit sort of, I'm an advocate of being very careful about the media that you consume. I think people are massively bogged down with fear and anger, and the media is part of that. You know, yeah. So yeah, and so play. You know, if you feel playful generally in life, you're getting a lot right. Yeah, so I'm not surprised. Oh, well, I know why that works, because it's playful. It's good energy, isn't it? It's energy up. You want to keep your energy up.
Yeah, Dave has talked about this before, Dave. The doom scrolling and the technoference and being mindful, yeah, of the media you're taking in because it is all like, oh, save the bees, save the trees, save the whales, save the snails. Like there's always something that's
Yeah,
going to
I
make you
know.
worry about everything.
I know.
And if you tune out,
Everything's our fault.
yeah,
Yeah,
and if you tune
yeah,
out for a minute and actually focus on your immediate world, I think you can be
totally,
far more effective and happy.
totally. Yeah.
Uh, I like you mentioned this, that, you know, like we don't have to have sex to survive. And I think that, but if we're in marriages or relationships, it is kind of necessary to survive and thrive. I like how you added thrive to that. Um, I forgot where I was going to go with this, but I was noting that was a good thing to say. Um, I liked, Liz, you brought up how the sexual revolution, maybe feminism has affected things. Laura, have you heard of the red pilling for men?
I'm aware of it, but to be honest, I haven't delved into it too massively, Rex.
Yeah, it's like the counter where it's men are getting upset and just okay, I don't need relationships, so that seems to be affecting things too. Have you heard of Louise Perry?
Yes, I have. I have. I forget the name of her book. But yes, I have.
She had a couple good ones, but the one I read that I really liked was A New Guide to Sex in the 21st Century. Did you read that one?
Not yet. No, it's on my list,
Okay.
Rex.
I highly
It's a long
recommend
list. Okay.
it. So definitely check her out. She was she talks about how, yeah, the sexual revolution and feminism has kind of negatively affected this. And I think there's so many factors too, but like for I think fertility rates are down, globally, and that's and I think it's linked. There's this weird link because I'm so surprised that we went through this crazy sexual time, like you're talking about the '90s, how everybody was much more, I guess, having more sex and just enjoying life. And now it's just like hit a cliff. It's so strange. Do you think that maybe like apps and stuff have had any effect on that? Because like I was talking to some younger person the other day, and they were saying how they in college, this just blew my mind. They were on Tinder, and that was just like the normal thing to do. And I thought, how scary would that be? And how crazy is that everybody just did that, and now, like, I don't know, we're off a cliff with people who are not having as much sex.
Well, it's not just the apps, is it? It's the porn. I mean, we're in a really weird spot, aren't we? On the sexuality front. I mean, where we are with sex. I mean, I'm not a research minded kind of a gal. I'm my interest is very much relational, but and within, yes, it's within the field that I'm in. However, it seems obvious to me that if you've got this, it's like McDonald's. It's like, I call pornography the McDonald's of sex. It's like, it looks like sex. It clearly is a sexual thing, but it's junk and it's going to kill you, and you're going to end up wanting that thing at 4 a.m. when you should be asleep, and you shouldn't be able to get it then with wherever and with whomever. So it's ruining our speech. That's what I think. I think that, the stats on it are terrifying. So yes, I don't think it's just the porn. You're right. It's the dating apps and all of that. I mean, we're just not designed for that kind of, to be able to have that kind of visual access. It's just, it's like expecting a kid in a sweet shop to not eat the sugar, to just don't touch any of the goods. It's just, we're not equipped. So I think that's it. I mean, that's it. It's wreaking havoc for us.
I think so.
It's taken the specialness and the uniqueness out of sex too.
Totally.
Because
Absolutely.
Now it's just recreation. Oh, 4 a.m. Sure. I'll do whatever. Yes. I don't care.
Yes, that's it, Rex. I think back to when I met my husband, honestly, and I still feel like this about him now. I remember the day I clapped eyes on him. It was like how it used to be. Boy meets girl. There's words just cannot do it justice. I couldn't. He was the best thing I ever saw. I was so excited. I knew it immediately. This is the one. This is he. And it was like, I can't imagine what that would be like if I had already spent 10 years consuming dreadful blowjob videos or God knows what else, and been, really harmed by that. I hate to think it's a dreadful experience, but that's it now. That's life, isn't it? That's children. That's what they've got. It's crazy.
That is, yeah. Like, you mentioned that. It reminded me of when I first saw my wife, and I remember in college being like, she's awesome, but there's no way that we'll be together. But I always longed for her, and we got to know each other and eventually got married. But yeah, when you've consumed, like you said, the McDonald's garbage, it can really, I don't need that person. I don't, it takes all that away. Because part of like that love is like, I want to get to know that person. I can see myself growing old with that person, and, going on vacations and going crazy with our kids and all the crazy stuff. And that's just gone.
The innocence.
Yeah.
It's the innocence, isn't it?
Connection, right? It's a false connection. It's just pleasure, and it's selfish. Talk about those three needs of safety, satisfaction, connection. It's only self-serving. There's not a real connection. And that's what we really long. It's just this temporarily satisfying this need, but never getting enough of what you really don't need, because you don't need,
Yeah.
you really need connection.
No, you're left starving, still starving.
Mhm.
And that's how it's
lonely-
designed too, to keep you coming back, and you're never
Yeah.
satisfied.
Yeah.
That's
Cotton
right.
candy. It has hollow,
That's right.
hollow happiness. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So you have to put it down. You have, like the McDonald's. You're like, I know it's all over the place, but you just see it for what it is. A disgusting money making, dreadful part of the landscape that you can just don't drive through, drive past. You know, it's like, no thanks. I'd rather
And
have
still
sex
play.
with my actual husband. You know, that's just, I mean, I don't know. It's what a strange, we're like the generation that knew before though. So it's easy to say, isn't it? When you've got roots down there. I don't think the younger generations do.
Yeah, it looks like food, but it's not food. It looks like sex, but it's not sex. It looks like a
That's
connection,
right.
but it's not a connection.
It's not. No, it's not. It's going to make you feel really sick.
I love the health. You talk about the health benefits too of having a healthy relationship includes having, sex. Something you brought up or made me think earlier is, what about relationships where maybe there's not a lack of frequency, but there's a lack of quality?
Good question. That's a really good question. This is one of my favorite topics.
Yeah. How do you get over that? Or like, how do we open up that and with our significant other, if, hey, we're doing it, but it's not that satisfying.
Again, you have to go on that mystery tour. You have to work out solve the puzzle. You know, it's like if the sex is sort of flat and dead, then it's the sex it's you, isn't it? We bring ourselves to that place. So if you are loving life, if you love being you, if you feel like, what a crazy thing to exist in this crazy universe on this giant rock in infinite space, and we don't know what created it, and it's the craziest, like, if you're like looking at the trees and feel the sunlight on your skin, if you are connected to life, you feel it. If you're really feeling it, you're probably going to be quite a nice person to have sex with. If conversely, you're not feeling that way about life, if you hate men or you hate women and you haven't healed from your childhood and you're, annoyed about this, that, and the other, you're just basically upset. If everything's a burden and life has got you really down, I'm not, there's no judgment. That's understandable. It's difficult. Life is difficult. But we're being called to try to work out how to find a way of that all being okay, and to get to a place where the general sense is life is good with all of its complexities, all of the stuff that is worrying, troublesome. If you generally feel like still I'd rather be here, then you're probably going to be good fun in the sack. But so it's like, what's happening for your spouse? If they're like, let's get this over with, they're probably feeling that a bit about life. So that's what to solve, so if she stopped dancing, or if he stopped working out, if he never dealt with the issues that he has with his mum, or the kid, one's got autism, the other three argue, and it's stressing you out. It's like you have to deal with your problems and try to get yourself, as hard as it is, to that life is good regardless of all of this stuff place. That's what I think about that. Again, I know I'm not very good at short, succinct answers.
Well,
I
this
mean,
is more complex.
It sounds like it basically starts with you. Find out what's bugging you, and that'll work.
Yeah.
Now,
That's right.
last question, and it's related to that. What about if there is somebody who is happy with life, which just has like a negative view of sex. Maybe they're not even aware of it.
Yeah, well, I'm a big fan of being a mirror, right? That's what you are as a therapist and as a parent. You know, one of the things that you ideally do in a very loving way is you mirror your children back to you. It's like, hey, you need to learn to do your shoelaces without losing your temper, because otherwise you're going to be Velcro man, you know? So it's like, this is you, buddy. It's like, you know, it's like, and you do that all the time. So that's what I would, you know, I think people are so frightened of upsetting everybody. I don't know if that's the case in America, but the Brits are like, we do not like any kind of conflict, and it's nuts. I mean, you're so vulnerable if you can't say difficult things. For some reason, I must have been born without that thing, because I'm so happy to say to people, I've noticed that you don't like to apologize very much, you know, and come hell or high water, we'll just go through that together. I think we can handle it. I can certainly handle it. So that's what I say to that, Rex. It's like you just voice it. You just say what you see, and try and get good at saying it with compassion and patience and kindness, but say what you see. And don't be fobbed off. You know, men will say to me, but then she said I was a terrible dancer. You know, it's like she'll say such mean things. It's not even related to what I said. It's like, yeah, that's just the drama that you get. It's like you got to get good at tolerating that and keep pushing through with what you see.
Persistence and diligence.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have that issue in America. People are afraid of offending.
Do you?
But I often just jam my foot in my mouth. So whatever you were not born with, I was too.
Oh, that's good. That's good. The world needs more of that.
Yeah, we need more Rex
for
and Lauras.
Sure. Yeah, well, I heard it a long time ago. It was something like, you know, you want to get really comfortable with people occasionally not liking you. You know, not agreeing and not feeling good. It's like, you can handle that. That's okay. Better that than never say anything honest. That's just a recipe for disaster. That's what we call, that's repression. That's going to clog you up.
Well, thank you, Laura. Unless anybody else has any questions, I think this was great.
Yeah.
I loved having you on.
Just
So
delightful, Laura.
So
you.
good. Yeah. Thank you, Laura.
You're a strong, bold force in the world. Keep at it, my friend.
Yeah, you too. All of you too. That's clearly true for all of you three too. Thank you so much for having me. It feels like such an honor to be invited onto you're such a success. And I'm not surprised. You have an incredible setup. You're all so good at what you do. It's slightly intimidating.
Oh, yeah.
I can see all
Yeah.
that. So,
Dude, you know,
Thank
we're
you.
the most down to earth people you'll ever meet. We just,
Give Russell our best. I'm so glad you guys are duo. It's really lovely. And you have a son. How old is your son?
He's 13, about to turn 14, and he's just the most beautiful. We get compliments all the time. So that's partly why I feel so strongly about what we're saying, because the proof's in the pudding. Charlie he's just so, he's just a beautiful light. I feel like we never stole anything, you know, important from him, because we're okay. So he just gets to be him for the most part. We've made a few mistakes.
That's why what you said earlier, I said resonated with me so well, was you can't hurt your spouse without hurting yourself or your family. It's like the parent relationship is so important, and it can only amplify and improve the relationship between the parents and children.
That's
when
right.
they're happy.
That's right.
Well, happy birthday, Charlie.
Oh, thank you. I'll tell him you said that.
Yes,
I'll tell him that you asked. He'll be so pleased. I've got a picture of him. I have this. This is what I do. I don't know if you can see that, but I sit. This is what I have in front of me all the time.
Really?
Yeah. He put a post-it note on one of my monitors that says, "I love you, Mum," and that's what keeps me in every clinical hour, every intensive that I offer, everything I do. I just feel like my son's with me. It's for the kids. I'll just say that as a finishing thing. For me, this was always about the kids. You know, I learned about child development, and I saw it's the marriage. It's you can talk about screen use and, you know, what they eat, but we're forgetting how absolutely profoundly essential a good marriage is for kids.
So true. So true.
Well
so
said.
just do it. Just do it for the kids. Right?
That's right. That's it, Liz. Just do it for the kids. Yeah. Very good, Liz.
Bless you, Laura.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. Thanks, Laura.
Thanks for joining us today. Hey, do us a favor and take a second to subscribe to our podcast and the Utah Marriage Commission YouTube channel at Utah Marriage Commission, where you can watch this and every episode of the show. Be sure to smash the like button, leave a comment, and share this episode with a friend. You can also follow and interact with us on Instagram at Stronger Marriage Life and Facebook at Stronger Marriage. So be sure to share with us which topics you loved or which guests we should have on the show next. If you want even more resources to improve your marriage or relationship connection, visit strongermarriage.org, where you'll find free workshops, e-courses, in-depth webinars, relationship surveys, and more. Each episode of Stronger Marriage Connection is hosted and sponsored by the Utah Marriage Commission at Utah State University. And finally, a big thanks to our producer, Rex Polanis, and the team at Utah State University, and you, our audience. You make this show possible. The opinions, findings, conclusions, and recommendations expressed in this podcast do not necessarily reflect the views of the Utah Marriage Commission.